Erev Shabbos, we're Parshat Vayakhel-Pekudei and Parshat HaChodesh, getting close to Rosh Chodesh Nisan. In this week's parsha, we read that the pasuk tells us that the Nesiim brought the Shoham stones and the stones for the setting of the ephod and the breastplate. Rashi points out that the word Nesiim, when describing this gift, is spelled defectively. It is missing the letter Yud. And Rashi quotes the Midrash that says that the missing Yud serves as a subtle rebuke towards the Nesiim. The princes, the Nesiim, the leaders of each tribe, waited for all the other donations to be made before stepping forward to give their truma. As it turned out, Bnei Yisrael were extraordinarily generous in this Mishkan building campaign, and there was practically nothing left to contribute. Therefore, the Nesiim had to give whatever was left remaining to donate. The princes didn't understand the real purpose of giving to the Mishkan. It was not merely to have the necessary raw materials to build the tabernacle, but rather the act of giving itself demonstrated that the materials and the labor can be spiritually elevated when utilized correctly. From this perspective, the princes and the Nesiim missed an opportunity, should have led the way and contributed first. Rashi utilizes this midrash to explain why later, by the Chanukat HaMishkan and Chanukat HaMizbeach, the princes were first to contribute, as described at the end of Parshat Naso. They seem to have learned their lesson, going last when it came to building the Mishkan, but came first when it came to offering the Karbanot in the dedication of that Mishkan. I believe there's another lesson that can be learned when we compare these two stories, the princes' conduct and contributions now versus later at the end of Parshat Naso. Here in Parshat Vayakhel, when the princes acted incorrectly, the Torah only alludes to this rebuke in a very subtle fashion by leaving out the letter Yud in the name Nesiim. However, when the Nesiim learn from their mistakes and act correctly and bring the Karbanot for the Chanukat HaMishkan first, not only does the Torah record this donation, but as we know from the reading on Hanukkah, it records each and every one of the prince's offerings in great detail. Although it is repetitive, the Torah makes a point of repeating those Karbanot, those sacrifices of the Nesiim, again and again and again times 12. I think this is the lesson that we can strive to emulate from the Torah. When people make mistakes, when people disappoint us, it needs to be pointed out, but it needs to be pointed out gently and subtly. However, when someone learns from their mistake, when someone does something correct or good or positive, we need to make sure that our words of praise and encouragement are many times more clear and detailed than our criticism ever was. There's this idea known as the criticism sandwich, that before we ever criticize someone, we have to make sure to preface and end with something positive. This is how we should look at life, finding the positive in others, subtly pointing out where there's criticism, but being effuse when it comes to praise. Wishing you a Shabbat Shalom.